students. So today's presentation for LSK3701 Life Skills Science and Technology Teaching in the Foundation phase is to give you assessment guidelines. As always, I am your lecturer, Mrs. Ayesha Carrim, and you can email me on ecareer1@unistar.ac.za. Okay, so I want to first take this opportunity to remind you of your assignment due dates. They refer to as assessments on your module site. So you have assessment 1, which is opened already from the 15th of Feb at 8 a.m. and it closes on the 16th of May at 11 p.m. So please make sure that you diarize this date. After this date and time, the assessment 1 will not be able to be taken. And they will meet no further extensions that can be granted, especially because this is a year course and it's important that assessments are done according to the assessment plan that has already been basically put within the system, and it's difficult to change. I know you think it's easy to just change the date and just further extend it. It's not possible because dates are within the system, and any changes to dates needs approval and things like that. And because the assignment is basically open until the 16th of May, and it's basically a quiz, it's sufficient time to ensure that you submit assessment 1. When looking at assessment 2, please make sure that you download it under the assessment 2 that is found in your module site. I know some students are asking where to download it, or some of you were trying to download it before the opening date, which was the 31st of March. So it's been open for almost a month now, and I'm sure that I see that some students are already submitting. I hope that you have put in the necessary effort to complete the assignment, to ensure that your application of knowledge is evident and that you do well in the assignment. So it's basically due on Thursday, the 4th July at 11 p.m. Be mindful of the date and the time. So if you try on the 4th of July at, at 12 p.m., it may not, obviously the system is closed at that time. So please make sure that you submit before the due date and time. By this, I mean that don't wait for the last moment to submit. And remember, your assignments are very important. They give you exam entrance. So missing assessment 1 or assessment 2 will be detrimental to not only your year, your year mark, but also, giving you the opportunity to actually sit in for your exam. It's very important that you complete both assignments. There's only 2 assignments in this module, and this basically counts 20% of your year mark. Okay, so let's look at the guidelines. I think it's very important that you read your guidelines thoroughly. Sometimes you just get into the questions and you don't really realize that you've missed out an important point that can affect your entire grading of your assignment. So section A, is basically preparing you for your assessment, to make sure that you complete it and you have access to the correct resources. Firstly, you need to have, the CAPS document for life skills for foundation phase. This is because it would make it easy for you to find, topics related to, to the water that is part of the instructions. So you also need to obviously have your study guide, your LSK3701 study guide, and familiarize yourself with all the content so that you're able to, answer the questions correctly. So, if you don't have that knowledge, you may, not add in important information and, or you might answer it incorrectly. So revise what you have learned about the nature of science in Learning Unit 1 and the process skills that develop learners' understanding of the nature of science in Learning Unit 2. You also need to look at specifically Learning Unit 3 in terms of planning for science and teaching and assessment. And also what is important is section B, learning units 4 to 6, which is regarding technology education. And you may find it helpful look at other sources, other sources that may be useful in the teaching of science, like, researching through websites, articles, and so on. But when I say research, I don't mean go to your AI tools like ChatGPT and whatever other tools that you know are available and try to, answer questions using those AI tools. Remember, there's a lot of students doing LSK 3701. It's very easy to, detect if students are writing the same information, or if, for instance, using these AI tools will really, it's very visible when someone is using a non-human tool to complete assignments, because it shows that you basically, put the question there, and whatever it doesn't really also answer the question correctly. So just bear in mind that you need to understand your content. There is no AI tool that's going to go through that all of that content and answer your questions correctly. So please make sure that you familiarize yourself with the content, you understand the content, and you are able to apply, the content in the LSK 3701 study guide to your assignment questions, so that it has a clear link between what you have studied and now showing the application of knowledge. Okay, so next you will have to reflect on which topic in grade to focus on to complete the assignment. So you consulting the life skills, foundation phase CAPS document, so that you're able to, explore the various topics listed in different grades in the foundation phase. And that can be used, when teaching science to learners. You also need to consider which grade. You can choose between grade R to 3. I haven't specified because I feel a lot of students are, focusing on or maybe teaching in a specific grade. And I feel like this would be easier for you to choose and make your decision based on that. So finally, you must select a specific topic and grade in the foundation phase syllabus to complete this assessment, as I noted before. But for this specific assignment, you need to use the topic water in your chosen grade. So maybe there's another, the topic that's related to water, that's also fine, but it needs to have some relation. So consult the CAPS Life Skills Foundation phase topic, explore the topic noted above, choose one of the themes based on water, and identify the science concept, big idea that you will be teaching. So do an internet search on the topic water as well. Like I said, the selected theme and the science concept embedded in it, you'll maybe have a better understanding of how to understand it in that sense. But you use the resources recommended above to just get ideas, for teaching based on science on the topic and the theme. Yeah. Let's look at section B. So this is the completion of your assessment. All your answers must be based on the water topic that you chose and the theme and grade you selected. Remember, refer to the teaching ideas and apply your knowledge you have gained to answer the questions in the assignment. It's very important that you show application of knowledge. And this can only be done if you have, really work through the study guide. It's not enough to just expect to do this assignment without doing the work. There's discussion forums that created for each learning unit. I see, thank you, I see a lot of students interacting in those discussion forums, and that is also a good basis for you to ensure that you don't miss out any activities, because at the end of the day, whether you tested on it or not, it's knowledge that you need to take into your classroom. It's something that, I know a lot of students like to spot and think, okay, this will come out, this will come out. But remember, every activity, all the content in the study guide is important for you to develop that skills and understanding, to be able to teach science and technology in the foundation phase classroom. So this is the focus that you need to or basically what you need to understand is that it's not about what you're going to get tested. It's about gaining all this, learning opportunities and actually, ensuring that you're given this opportunity to showcase it in the classroom whenever you're given that opportunity. Okay, so assignment 2 is a written assignment, and it requires you to engage a little more with the content. So without understanding the content, like I said, you will find the application of these questions very challenging. And this assignment is compulsory, and it counts 10% towards your year mark and will serve as preparation for the upcoming exam later this year. So marks will be allocated for the application of knowledge in the context of the given question. So remember the topic that this assignment is about. So please read instructions carefully before starting your assessment. So question 1 is 25 marks. So it's very important that you read the questions carefully and work towards, achieving or, gaining the 25 marks allocated for question 1.1. So 1.1 is basically asking you, telling you scientific knowledge and concepts are classified or grouped into content areas, also called knowledge strands. So you need to choose which of the 4 science content strands describe the content of your theme plan and motivate your choice. Remember, this presentation is purely to guide you and not to give any answers in that case. So to answer this question, you should first identify the science content strands that are noted in your study guide that align with your, it basically needs to align to your theme plan on water or your topic on water. So you then need to justify your choice by explaining how the selected strand that encompasses the core concepts and activities of your theme plan. So provide specific examples from your theme plan to support your reasoning that will actually strengthen your response. Because remember, when you motivate, you're getting 2 marks there. So look at the mark allocation. By effectively linking your theme plan to the chosen content strand, you will demonstrate a clear understanding of the scientific principles being addressed and the relevance of the activities within the broader context of science education within your theme plan. So it's very important that you go through your study guide and make sure that you understand the 4 science content strands, because it would always be part of, um, be part of your teaching, especially in the foundation phase when you're teaching life skills. Okay, so let's look at question 1.2. So big concepts are not taught as topics on their own, but they are ideas that link several topics to organize and categorize, information. So when we're looking at 1.2.1, they say which of the CAP social science big ideas described in Unit 2 will be appropriate, to weave through your theme plan. And then you need to give reasons for your choice. So remember, to effectively respond to this question, you should first identify the appropriate big idea. And this you'll find in, learning Unit 2 of the study guide. And it basically, in the CAPS document, it's social science curriculum that align with your theme plan. And it must align to the theme plan on water that, the topic you've chosen. So you should provide reasons for your choice, explaining how the selected big idea will be integrated into your theme plan. So this will show your understanding, of the interconnectedness of various social science concepts. And additionally, you should highlight how integrating these big ideas, enhances your learners' understanding of the related social phenomena or principles, fostering, critical thinking and analytical skills within the broader context of the social science education. So you must show a good understanding, and remember, when you give reasons for your choice, they must be, basically aligned to your theme plan on your chosen topic within the water. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at question 1.3. If you want to teach learners about your specific topic and chosen science concept, you must know what they understand about it and how they came to have that understanding. So you need to show how you will go about finding out what your learners already understand about your topic, within the water topic that you've chosen and the science concept before you teach it. So remember, before you teaching your topic on water and the science concept within that, it's important to understand what students already know. This involves using different methods. For example, pre-class discussions to assess their knowledge and misconceptions. A lot of our young learners have a lot of misconceptions about science-related concepts, which we need to understand first before actually going into the lesson. So by analyzing this information as a teacher, you can adjust your teaching to basically meet students' needs and ensure, a better understanding and engagement with the topic that they're going to be taught. So pre-assessment is a crucial step in effective teaching. It helps you as teachers tailor your approach to support, our learners' learning, especially in the foundation phase. And again, I don't think I highlighted in the previous questions, but remember to look at the mark allocation, especially if you want to get that 5 marks, you need to, at least have that amount of content that can give you basically that mark allocation. A lot of students write very vague answers, and it ends up, obviously maybe they can have 1 or 2 marks, but they lose 3 marks for no reason. So 1.4, in the teaching of science, placeholders, words to develop concepts are important to develop science concepts and indicate the placeholders that you will use in your theme plan. So now we're looking at, in science education, placeholders play a crucial role, in developing learners' understanding of, complex concepts, and especially in the foundation phase. A lot of things seem complex and complicated for our young learners. So we need to break it down and make it easier for them to understand. So when crafting a theme plan on your water topic, you should carefully select placeholders that align with the scientific concepts you intend to teach. So these are like placeholder words. And these placeholders serve as building blocks. So they introduce and they scaffold key ideas in a way that is accessible and meaningful to our young learners. By incorporating placeholders into your theme plan, you provide learners with a framework for exploring scientific concepts and fostering inquiry and promoting, a deeper understanding. So please ensure that you answer this question, correctly, and that you, integrate it within your theme plan or your topic based on water. So 1.5, you need to make use of the following and relate how they have been integrated in your inquiry-based theme plan to encourage learners to explore new content in an objective and open-minded way. So this would be, they're asking you to look at bootstrapping, sense and meaning making, conceptual change, science investigation. These are all topics that are, are in your study guide, and it's just that you need to really read through your content so that you don't miss this information. So your inquiry-based theme plan, you firstly need to understand the concepts of bootstrapping, sense-making, conceptual change, and science investigation to foster learners' exploration of new content. They need to be new content. They need to look at it objectively and with an open mind. So, for example, you need to leverage bootstrapping. You need to build upon students' existing knowledge to establish a foundation for new learning. With sense making, you need to encourage them through activities, linking abstract concepts to real world examples, ensuring content relevance and comprehension. When promoting conceptual change, provide opportunities for learners to challenge and to revise their understanding based on evidence and inquiry that you give them the opportunity to do. So through hands-on science investigation activities, learners can engage in active exploration, and you can foster their curiosity and critical thinking skills. So overall, these integrations cultivate an environment, where our learners approach new content with, a sense of curiosity, objectivity, and open-minded attitude. This is when it drives meaningful exploration and understanding, which is very important in the foundation phase classroom. So look at the mark allocation. I'm so sorry about that. I think I went a bit too I clicked on the wrong. Yes. Okay. So if we look at 1.5, it's 12 marks. So you're getting basically um, 3 marks each. So remember to answer it correctly. And if you're not going to, integrate it to your water topic, you're going to find yourself losing marks or even getting 0 for the questions, because it's basically, taking information from the study guide and not really applying your knowledge, which will really affect your grading on this assignment. So please bear in mind that everything is related to that topic that you chose within water, so that everyone's, all students apply their work differently. If you understand what I'm noting here. So question 2 is also 25 marks, and a lot of students struggle with this question because it's basically asking you to plan an inquiry-based lesson plan, by using the 7-phase cycle that is, noted in your study guide, and it's described in Learning Unit 3 more in detail to support your water topic and your chosen science concept. So the guidelines for this question is to recreate your lesson plan using the template. I think it's on page 11 in your assignment the downloaded assignment that you will get on your module site. So carefully read what is required for each section of the lesson plan before completing it. Remember, you also can refer to the tables 3.2 and 3.3 and figure 3.2 in your study guide for an explanation of each phase in the 7-phase cycle in respect of open inquiry-based science education. But just remember, you're not going to use the templates in that form. You're going to use the template that is added in your assignment. The reason why is because this is the type of lesson plan you will be using daily, in your classroom as a teacher. It's not necessarily where you're going to have that 7 phases, directly as how we explain in the study guide. But you need to take that information you learn about the 7-phase cycle and incorporate it in any lesson plan you're given by a school. So it's about understanding the 7-phase cycle and always incorporating it well into any lesson plan template that you've given, whether it be your teaching prep or the school that you will be teaching in. So let's look at this template. This is very important that you complete this. The content area, the subject. You'll always find yourself completing information like this in a lesson plan template because especially in foundation phase, you have a theme of the week. There's a content area that you're focusing on. It's not where you give a lot of information to your students at once. Remember, our young learners have the attention span is not as long as others. They still they love playing, they love doing a lot of things that basically keep their attention. So it's important that you consider this as well. So you need to fill out the above information so that you get a mark for that as well. Outcomes are very important. So consider, what are the outcomes of your lesson? New concepts. Decide what concepts or new knowledge you are planning on teaching. Remember, we talked of placeholders. That can help you perhaps here, so there's new concepts that students need to understand so that the lesson becomes more meaningful and understandable to them. Learner support, enrichment, concerns. You need to show that you're making provision for learner enrichment, learner support, and add concerns you may have. Remember, our learners have different learning styles, and sometimes you have language barriers at schools. There's a lot of things that you need to consider in terms of learner support, and it's very important to ensure that all our learners are included in the classroom and in the lesson. So these enrichment opportunities, should provide a differentiated, learning style that actually helps the student, understand the lesson better. Then you look at the introduction. You're going to basically obviously recreate this lesson plan, or basically just take out these guidelines and plug in your information. So for introduction, you need to provide a detailed description of how you plan to begin your lesson by explaining, from how you'll greet the learners, how you'll set the atmosphere for the lesson, to get them thinking, activate the learner's prior knowledge, like we spoke about in the previous question. Do you see how everything links through? So whatever you are planning above actually all comes through for your lesson planning as well. And create a link between what they already know and the new knowledge that you will be presenting. So you also need to explain how the theme you selected above will help you do this. Sometimes it would be a topic on water, but you'll have a specific theme plan and you basically incorporate it, just to make it more meaningful and more relatable to the students. So indicate the resources you'll be using as well. This maybe would be the point where there's just example where phase 1 would be considered, the introduction phase, the body of the lesson. You need to provide a detailed description of the content you will be presenting. You need to also indicate how you will present the content of the lesson, and also consider what activities the learners will be required to do. So the other phases will come in, in terms of getting the students to explore, having them designing an investigation, conducting an investigation, all in the name of science learning. Consolidation. There is a conclusion, this is a point where you need to provide a detailed description of your plan for the conclusion of the lesson. Remember, the consolidation of the lesson is very important. Explain how you will consolidate the new knowledge, how you'll incorporate assessment of the objectives and wrap up the lesson. And you need to also consider follow-up activities that you will use to consolidate and reinforce the lesson concepts and the content that they were taught in your lesson. So this would be the phase 5, the conclusion. And then you're looking at the assessment part of it. You need to, the assessor provide details of how you will assess the learners at the end of the lesson to determine whether they have achieved the objectives using any of the formats or any other method. I notice a lot of students just keep these checks unmarked. But remember, you're going to get a 0 for that because you are guided on what this part, entails, but you show no initiative or no planning on what are you going to use. It's not always the case where you can use all of them. You might use one of them. So just remember to select it or write it to make sure that you have an understanding. And it obviously needs to incorporate to your entire lesson plan. You can't choose peer assessment, but it doesn't even, relate to what you've noted in your activities for the conclusion, for example. Your forms also, this is where your presentation phase can probably come in. Were you encouraging participation? Were the students answering questions? So did you use a reading activity, a dialogue, a role play? You need to look at, were you giving the students written work, in terms of writing activities? Were they making a model, drawing, painting, things like that? Demonstrations, in terms of exploration phase, where they maybe had, and the investigations where they maybe had physical demonstrations, performing actions, experiments that they needed to do in line with the lesson, within the topic of water. Models, did they create collages, constructions, artwork? So everyone will have a different type of lesson. Some students may create a lesson with physical demonstrations. Some may rely on things like role play, reading activities. So everyone is going to have a different type of lesson plan, because it's how you are planning that lesson plan. And I always encourage my students to do this on your own. Don't try to try to copy other students' ideas, or if you really think about the lesson, you can come up with your own ideas and your own way of teaching the concept, the topic that you've chosen within the water theme, so that students are able to really understand your lesson. So the strategy would be, whether it be questioning, listening, writing, observation. So you're going to select there's a lot of cases where students watch, videos. So when it comes to the assessment instrument, you need to make sure that you choose the correct assessment instrument as well. And when it comes to reflection, it is necessary to reflect on the lesson. And I notice students really don't know how to reflect. You need to ensure that you reflect on the lesson you have presented by indicating the strengths, weaknesses, challenges, whether the objectives were met, what would you change, what you learned from the lesson, what would you do differently next time. And this would incorporate the phase 7, the deepening phase. Look at the resources, provide evidence of all the teaching resources used for the lesson. Example, the photos of learners, making the artwork, equipment, your homemade equipment, teaching resources. I notice a lot of students ask, can we just write it out? As long as you are very clear on what type of resources were used as well, because we do understand that this is just the planning phase. Question 3 is also 25 marks. Here you're basically going to illustrate how the following have been integrated in your inquiry-based team plan on the topic water that you've chosen. So remember, a lot of students ask me, what does it mean to illustrate? So when it comes to habits of mind and habits of body, just remember when an assessment asks you to illustrate, it typically means that you're expected to provide examples, or demonstrate your understanding through specific instances. using examples, explanations related to your inquiry-based theme plan topic on water. So you may also add in visuals if required or possible. But in this context, illustrating how habits of mind and habits of body have been integrated into your inquiry-based theme plan involves showing concrete examples, within your plan, where these habits of mind and habits of body are implemented or demonstrated. So you might describe specific activities, lessons, or strategies that you incorporate habits of mind, such as characteristic that aims to develop learners' problem-solving skills, and habits of body such as gross motor and sensory motor activities, which really involve senses and movement. So to clarify how they integrated into your inquiry-based theme plan, on your chosen topic on water. Okay, and again, look at the mark allocation. Let's look at 3.2. You say you need to suggest a creative art activity that you can do to your inquiry-based theme plan. So on this point, to enhance your inquiry-based theme plan on water, I propose that you need to integrate a creative art activity as per instruction that aligns with the scientific concepts explored. So this activity could involve learners engaging in a variety of artistic creative art activities, so from visual arts, like they can draw and paint, to performing arts such as drama and dance. Each activity offers unique opportunities, for students to be given that creative time where they can, express themselves and explore. And for instance, in visual arts, learners can develop fine motor skills and creativity through drawing, painting, and sculpture, or whatever it is, and while exploring concepts like color, shape, and texture. And when we're looking at drama and dance, students can express themselves and collaborate with a fellow peers, and develop communication skills through storytelling, role playing, and movement activities. So by incorporating art, you can also give students opportunity to foster their creative side. And art activities are always, it not only enriches the learning experience, but it also encourages our students, our young learners, to engage deeply with the scientific content and enhance their understanding and retention of these concepts that we are teaching. Let's look at 3.3. 3.3.1 is basically the three science process skills. It's basically saying apart from observation. So don't choose the observation one, that you as a teacher can assess informally for learning within your inquiry-based theme plan. So you need to evaluate at least three science process skills that you can read up in Learning Unit 2 besides observation, and show, by informally assessing these skills, you need to show that you promote active engagement, deeper understanding, and the development of essential competencies for scientific inquiry within the context of the water theme plan. So please make sure that you go through the science process skills in Learning Unit 2 so that you can answer that question correctly. Now we come to the last question, question 4, which is also 25 marks. 4.1 asks you to apply the skills of the design process to develop an activity, for learners to solve the problem relating to your theme plan on water. So remember, to develop an activity addressing a water-related problem within the theme plan, you need to follow the design process steps. And this is something that you need to refer to, on table 4.1, which gives you a good example on the steps in the design process as steps in the problem-solving process. So this activity should create an opportunity, for your young learners to engage in problem-solving, in critical thinking and scientific inquiry, while promoting environmental awareness and community engagement. And so make sure that you look at the mark allocation here as well. We're looking at 4.2. So you need to argue how the use of digital technology can support teaching and learning in your inquiry-based theme plan. So remember, you should argue how digital technology can support your teaching and learning within your inquiry-based theme plan on the topic that you've chosen within that water. So you should highlight specific digital tools, perhaps, and emphasize how digital integration can possibly benefit your theme plan on water and foster a better understanding of the content of your lesson. So you see how everything needs to be integrated to the topic that you've chosen for your inquiry-based theme plan. It's very important that you do this. You will find yourself losing marks if there's no integration and no application of knowledge. 4.3 is your last question, where you demonstrate how you will use the following activities to support teaching and learning in your inquiry-based team plan. So remember, firstly, you're going to look at learners' science, journal activity, role play activity, creative drama activity, poetry activity, story activity. So remember, these activities need to foster active engagement, critical thinking, creativity, and deeper understanding of the scientific concept being taught within the water topic. So by using a science journal, students can document, their observations and reflections, while role playing and creative drama can encourage empathy and communication skills. Your poetry, writing, and telling actually, offer avenues for creative expression of the scientific concept. So together, these activities provide diverse and immersive, learning experiences that support inquiry and promote holistic understanding within the theme plan topic of water. So make sure that you look at the mark allocation. Just a reminder that your assignment submission has instructions in the assessment the downloaded assessment there for assessment 2. The opening and closing dates are highlighted within the system. Make sure you diarize it. You're expected to read all the questions carefully, familiarize yourself with the content. Your practical teaching and research experience, in engagement with your study material will benefit you in this assignment. Read the content and understand and reflect on it, so that you can answer the questions correctly. Avoid copying from the study guide. Apply yourself. I cannot emphasize this more. Use your own words, show your understanding. Only include relevant information. I find that students are not sure of the questions, so they tend to write a lot of irrelevant information. Sometimes your first content is marked and the second one would be considered irrelevant. So please make sure that you answer the question only. Number your answers correctly. It's very important. We find students not numbering the questions correctly, which results in losing marks unnecessarily. Keep the mark allocation in mind, work systematically. This assignment needs you to work from the first question, going downwards. It's really not possible for you to start from any question, because it all kind of integrates. We strongly recommend that you type the assignment, but we do know that there are some cases where handwritten assessments are only possible. Just make sure to write in pen only. And when you do, upload the document, make sure that you scan it in the correct order and submit as one single PDF document. The declaration form needs to be completed within your assignment. So you either copy and paste it into your assignment, or you write. If you're writing, you write it within your assignment, and everything needs to be one complete document. If you try to submit your declaration at the end, what we're going to get is only your declaration form. You need to ensure that you only submit one single PDF document that includes everything, your assignment, your declaration, everything in one. So ensure that you find and upload the correct assessment. We notice that students sometimes upload the question paper. Remember, you're going to get 0. There's no relevant content to mark. So save your assignment correctly so that you're able to, when you're submitting, you basically submit the correct document, and don't mistakenly, upload an incorrect assignment. We sometimes get like statements and things like that. So you can imagine how that mistake can happen, even though it's not intentional. If it does happen, it will affect your mark. Please check that you're submitting the correct file. Submit your assessment well in advance to avoid missing the closing date. Email submissions will not be accepted. So do not email me your assignment after the submission or within the submission period. It's not acceptable or accepted by the university. Plagiarism of any sort will not be tolerated. You will receive feedback on the assessment. Plagiarism is basically, an unethical and unacceptable. Remember to read up on plagiarism. I'm not going to touch on everything now, but make sure that you never copy and paste from the internet. You don't take directly from the study guide. You work on your own. You don't use, artificial intelligence applications to answer your questions. When the university becomes aware of, malpractices, it will basically result in your assignment not being accepted, or getting zero, or basically being a part of this disciplinary process that can result in in your assignment basically getting a zero or not being accepted by the university. Remember, any copying is a form of plagiarism, and such assessments will actually not be marked. It's a serious offense, students. So students who copy directly from the study guide, the internet, or the fellow students or using AI tools will face disciplinary action. Remember, our systems do pick up these things, and it's not something that you can, try to avoid. If it has been done, there is a stage in your studying that you will be affected by the disciplinary action process, which can really affect your completion of your degree. Please do not wait for the last minute to submit your assignments to avoid those technical errors and unforeseen circumstances. I know we are all experiencing load shedding and power outages and a lot of issues, things like that. So I would advise you to submit a few days before the due date. I do feel for my students. I know students email me after the due date saying, please, give us this opportunity to submit. But I am giving you the opportunity to reflect that these unforeseen challenges can happen. We cannot run away from them. So please submit a few days before the due date so that you're not affected. I would not want any of my students to complete the assignment and fail to submit just because of, circumstances that were out of their control on that day. Good luck, students. I really wish you all the best in the assignment. Remember, this is your preparation for your exam. And please, another reminder to submit assignment 1. The due date is basically, soon. And it is important for your exam entrance. So please, I'm really pleading with you to submit before the due date and time. It's basically a quiz. Do not be afraid to try it. As long as you went through the content, you should be fine. Just make sure that you read the questions carefully and answer the quiz as best as you can. Good luck. I will always be here to support you, students.